got things to say that some of y'all ain't gonna like, but let me tell you, pull up a chick, cause it's gonna be a bumpy night. Hey fam, what's up, what's up, what's up? This is Robert Anton here, robertantonnyc.com, coming to you with your No Frills American Idol commentary from a singer. Yes sirree, tonight was the top 5, the first time that we have had 5 girls in the top 5, and it was seriously divalicious. I can't call it nothing else. Let me get in here and tell you what happened. We started with some love for the other female winners of Idol, like Kelly Clarkson and Fantasia. Fantasia, yeah! And Nicki Minaj came out showing some boobage while Mariah Carey kept her girls covered up today. Are they going back and forth or something? You know? Oh yeah. Anyway. Ryan sent out love to those affected in Boston and dedicated the show to them. Keep them in your thoughts and your prayers. We had 2 themes tonight, birth year and divas, and they really came with it. And of course we got their childhood memories before each of them sang, so that was kind of cute. Watch that if you get a chance to watch it. And we started out performances with Candice Glover. She did Straight Up by Paula Abdul, and I liked the vibe as soon as this started. And of course Candice was all up in the vocal. This arrangement was perfect to show off her vocal stylings and kind of reminded me of the Chris Allen version of Donna Summer, and I haven't heard it in a long time, so it might not be exactly the same, but it's just the way that he changed it so much that it was like wow, it like put it right there in front of you. A total makeover for the song. And I love her happy endings. That's what I'm starting to call her now, happy endings, because she does her little thing on the end, and when she don't do it, I really miss it. Keith said her runs are so effortless and it was fantastic. Nikki said she showed that she's the boss. Randy said she's in the zone and relaxed. Mariah said it was unpredictable and smart, and the song choice was genius. I agree. Janelle helped her pick the song, we found out, and Jimmy was doing commentary after the commercials for the first half, but not for the second half. I guess we'll get his commentary for the second half tomorrow. He said he didn't like the song choice because the vocal range was too narrow. Now should I disagree with that? Janelle Arthur did When I Call Your Name by Vince Gill, and she took the judge's advice and picked up the guitar for this and took us to the Grand Ole Opry. She really did. She was connecting to the song, and her eyes were moist, and she was singing her heart out. I think it really touched her. I heard a few little hiccups in the vocal, but overall it was very touching and I really enjoyed it. Nikki said her vocals were pretty and angelic tonight. Randy said the song brought her back to where she belongs. While Keith said she hit all the notes tonight, but he didn't feel it because she was trying to do too much. Jimmy said the verses sounded like row, row, row your boat tonight. I'm sorry, that got me. That really tickled me. Kree Harrison was up next, but she talks to Angels by the Black Crows, and she starts out really sedate, laid back, with just the guitar and her vibing and sounding so good. I mean, just really, really nice. Kree is just in her zone right now and was showing out on this performance while ramping up the emotion. It wasn't always pretty, but surely she said it seemed very heartfelt to me. Randy said it wasn't flawless, but emotionally he absolutely loved it. Keith said he sometimes feels she doesn't feel comfortable with the performance aspect of the show, but said her voice is so fine and beautiful. Nikki put on her British accent, and I'm not even gonna try it, and said it was the best performance of the night. It's only been 2 performances so far, right? And at one point Mariah tried to say something, and Nikki said to her, "Simmer down, sir." I'm getting my kicks tonight, man. I'm getting my I wrote, roll on the floor laughing. She said, she was just talking, she looked at her, she said, "Simmer down, sir." And Jimmy said the song wasn't strong enough for Kree's vocal. If you're enjoying the commentary so far and having fun, please thumb it up for me. Let me know that you are enjoying it. Thank you very much. Angie Miller was up next. She did I'll Stand By You by the Pretenders. And she sat at the piano and dedicated the song to Boston, where she's from. And this seems like it could have been a really great performance, but for me, it kind of lacked conviction and was so proper in the opening. And again, it's her, the way she sings, sometimes she just doesn't know how to like messy it up, I guess, a little bit. And it never really got off the ground for me. Her vocal was good, but wasn't nearly up to her best performances on the show. Mariah didn't really rave about this performance, so I don't think she liked it. Keith also talked around this performance, but said well done at the end. Nikki almost called her Amber, but did compliment her on her great performance performance. Randy said this was the best top 5 they'd had in a long time and said she's on her way. Now, Jimmy said this was the best performance of the night because she turned a simple song into a power ballad. So we are not in agreement on that. And we got a preview of the Carly Rae Jepsen Finale performance of Take a Picture. She just did a little bit of the song, right? Then Amber Holcomb came up with Without You by Mariah Carey, well, Badfinger and Mariah Carey. I was waiting for Amber to go into the chorus of the song, and she surprised me by not taking it up immediately when she did, which kind of disappointed me right at that moment, but it was so sweet when she finally went up the octave and really wailed on the song. I thought this was pretty great, though it was just a little screechy on the top at times for me. 3 judges stood for her, not Nicki Minaj. And you know, I think the reason that, okay, the judges talk about it, but I think the reason why I was not so impressed and just waiting for her to get into the top range, the judges touched on it later on. Okay, because remember, I don't know, I won't talk too much about it, but I take my notes while I'm watching the performance. So what I'm feeling, what I'm thinking at that moment, I actually type it into, I have my laptop, so I'm typing it in. And usually when I read to you guys, I want to read what I was feeling at that moment, what I thought at that moment, no matter what the judges are saying, no matter what Jimmy says, no matter anything like that. So this is how I felt in the moment, and for all of my critiques, that is how it is. Alright, so Keith said we got an Amber alert going on and said he loved it. Nikki said there was no feeling in the beginning and the lower notes, and she wasn't impressed by the high notes and didn't like it. Randy said it wasn't perfect but gave her mad props for doing it in front of Mariah, and also said Nikki's right, and then said she did a damn good job. So he was kind of back and forth. Mariah pointed out that her range is up and said she particularly liked the end. So what she was, in my opinion, what she was saying was the lower part just really didn't shine, didn't do, you know, her a lot of justice. Jimmy said Amber gets an A for bravery, but agreed with Nikki and then said she's the second best tonight. So again, kind of up and down. So you know, the same person kind of up and down. So I don't know what's going on there. So we move on. The next segment was Divas. They were doing songs of the Divas, and Jessica Mauboy from Australia was in the audience. I guess she is someone from Australian Idol. I'm gonna look her up later on, you know. And Ryan talked to her on camera. Then Candice Glover did When You Believe by Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston. And this performance was so sweet and touching. She took her time and seemed to really connect. She really started doing her thing when we got to the bridge, but it seemed a little reserved, like she was holding back. The key change was great and had the audience on their feet along with all of the judges, and it was just so restrained for me. I thought she was really gonna bust it out, but it was such a beautiful and laid back and restrained performance while just being so it was an amazing performance to me. Nikki said this is how you do a Mariah Whitney song, and then went on a rant and called her a diva. Randy said it was the best vocal of the night and said she was one of the best voices in the known world. Mariah gave her props on doing the song. Keith said her voice stops him in his tracks and said she ripped out the stops and annihilated them, because Jimmy said she had to pull out all the stops later on, you know, in her second performance if she was gonna come back. Janelle Arthur was up next doing Dumb Blonde by Dolly Parton, and I was liking the pace and intensity of this performance. I really was. The vocal was okay, but the beauty was in the attitude and the little emotional changes that worked really well for her. Randy said it was a fun song, but he wanted something that showed off her voice more. Mariah said it was pow because she was connected to the song. I totally agree with that. Keith said he didn't feel like it was the best song for her to shine. Nikki said she's in jeopardy of going home tomorrow. And I want to comment on the comments, really, because when Keith said that he didn't feel like it was the best song for her to shine, I don't think that necessarily it was the best song for her vocally, even though there were some really good vocal parts for her to really do her thing on it. But overall, she was so into the song and she gave so much attitude and she was so much into the lyric and really personalized it, and within doing that, really making it her own, she really like gave all the little inflections and nuances and really said like she was talking to this song like it was, she made it first person. Really, she was saying to you, I'm not just a dumb blonde, and she looked gorgeous doing it. So I really enjoyed that. Next up, Kree Harrison did Have You Ever Been in Love by Celine Dion. And Kree has such a flexible voice. That is exactly the first thing that I thought. I liked all the little inflections and riffs she infused into this performance while staying right on top of the emotion. She was also looking spiffy for this performance. You know, I think this might be the most dressed up I've seen her, or that I remember noticing of her. All the judges stood for her. Mariah said it was a smart song choice, though it got away from her slightly, but she reined it in. Keith said she stayed in a beautiful, effortless place of control. Nikki called her iconic and compared her to Adele and Celine Dion, all right, and said she's everything. Randy said she's so good that she can sing anything and do anything she decides to do. Then Amber Holcomb finished out with What Are You Doing With the Rest of Your Life by Barbra Streisand. And this is a big risk for Amber to do with the song not being very current. I had no doubt that she could handle lyrics and all the chromatic stuff that goes on in the song, but this was very classy and sweet. It was intricate and poised, but I don't know that it'll connect with the core Idol audience and the core Idol voter because it's not familiar and because it is so old school, not very current. All 4 judges stood for her. Nikki said it was perfection. Randy said it was the most difficult song of the season, and she did great with it. And I totally agree with that. Mariah said she's potentially a massive star. I totally agree with that. Keith said it was elegant and beautiful and she knocked it out of the park. And I totally second that emotion. What do you think? Is it enough to keep her out of the bottom 2 and from going home? Because the people I think that are in trouble are Amber and Janelle. The other 3 really have a big following and really did pretty good tonight. Amber and Janelle did great. Both of them had their chances and their performances, but they have the least amount of following, and I'm sorry y'all, I see Amber going home tonight or tomorrow night. Tell me what you think. Did you enjoy the show? Did you enjoy the commentary? Tell me if you stuck around. And for those of you who did stuck around last time and told me, and I asked you to tell me, you told me. Actually, the next day I put your names into the description box. And Chescalay said if you put $1 million in the description box, most people would not even notice it. Nobody will ever find it, and I don't think many of you found it. A few of you might have, but I don't think many of you found it. But I did do that. Clay Aiken and Fantasia are performing on the Results Show tomorrow night. Did I say Fantasia? Ah! I'm out. Peace.